listening to the Straight to Video podcast with Rob Lane.
What's up? This is the Straight to Video podcast, as always with myself, Rob Lane, as your host, and as always, hope you're doing great out there. Got a real fun episode and chat today with the most wonderful Mr. Baz Mills of Massive Wagons. I can't say enough good things about Baz and the band. They're one of the UK's hardest working acts out there, and right now with the release of their album House of Noise, they're really seeing all that hard work get the success it deserves. Did I say they got a top 10 with this new record? No? Well, yeah, a kick-ass hard rock band in the official top 10 of the UK album charts. That is just really cool to see, and they're just destroying in everything they do. And myself and the thousands of fans out there, they're just so chuffed and proud of them. I got to meet Baz and the band when we were both on the lineup of a Ginger Wild Art tour a few years ago. It was easy to tell things were going to go great for them. I love their song Tokyo, which is just a massive tune. And then they just built on that with their next album, Full Nelson. This new record though, House of Noise, it seems to have just taken things to the next level, and despite having tours cancelled like everyone out there, I just can't wait to see what they do next once the world begins to turn in something of a regular way. For those of you that are familiar with Straight to Video outside of this podcast, you'll know I record cover versions of my favourite 80s and 90s movie soundtrack tunes. Not on my own though, I do get a little bit of help from some music friends out there. Last Halloween I covered Good Times by Jimmy Barnes and In Excess, which some of you might know from the Lost Boys soundtrack, one of my favourite films. And I was super buzzed to get Baz on board to sing the Jimmy Barnes parts. It was super apologetic for taking forever to get the vocal done. I was sweating for a while, but when he did, and he tells me it was just a one-take job, he just nailed it. So if it's cool with you guys, before we hear from Baz, I'd like to play that for you, just in case you've never heard it. And if you do like it, then head on over to straighttovideo.co.uk and you can download it for free. Also on this track, you've got Dave Kerr doing the Michael Hutchence vocal, along with some more good friends, Nat Webb on drums, Sean Charvette, who you might know from Midnight City on keys, and the brilliant Danny Beardsley on guitar. I think it turned out super fun, so here you go, hope you like it.
Everybody shake, everybody groove, everybody shake. Mary, Mary, you're on my mind. Folks are gone and the place will be mine. Mary, Mary, wanna be with you. And this is what I'm gonna do. I wanna put a call to you, 'cause I feel good tonight, and everything's gonna be right, right, right. I'm gonna have a good time tonight. Rock and roll music gonna play all night. Come on, baby, it won't take
Super proud of that one and having everyone on board. Like I mentioned, if you enjoyed it, then grab a free download over at straighttovideo.co.uk. So here we go. Be sure to check out everything Massive Wagons and their new album over at massivewagons.com. Hit up Wagons World, which is their really cool fan club, and go see the guys when they get back out on tour. But first, here's my chat with Baz Mills. It doesn't have to be particularly music related, but what are some of your earliest childhood memories?
My earliest childhood memories? Am I allowed to talk about being beaten with a stick? Is that what I'm allowed to remember?
Is that what happened?
No, I'm only joking. No, that's not what happened, no.
What was you like as a kid? Was you a good kid or was you up to mischief?
I was always dead small at school. I remember my fifth year, last year at high school, photograph. I still looked younger than half of the people at Blinking the first and second year. I was like, seriously, did not look like I should have been then. And I was tiny. Yeah. I'm not the biggest guy in the world now, but I was tiny. So that kind of brought its own issues being when I was young. You know, you get picked on. You know, you're immediately a target for people, aren't you? Which I got a lot of that. Everybody had their own issues growing up, didn't they? But yeah, I got picked on a lot. In the same way, you're kind of forced to sort of overcome that, because when you're young, that's a massive thing, isn't it? You got your friends, and that's really it. And there's no escape. You're either at home or with your friends. And when you're getting picked on or bullied at school, that's a massive thing, isn't it? In your head, it's a massive part of your life. When you're an adult, you can just go away from that, or you don't have to speak to people. If people are getting in your face, you leave, or you can go with your family or go do something else. When you're a kid, it's just such a massive deal, isn't it?
You got to face it every day.
Yeah, exactly. And you go home worrying about it or whatever, at school worried about it. I got my head kicked in again. But you do learn to to deal with these things, and I think that turns you into the sort of who you become later on in life. You become a funny guy, or you learn how to beat people up or something, And I'm kind of happy, glad of that. I can sort of handle all that sort of, learn to handle it,
How did you counteract it? Was you kind of with your personality, because you've got a very likeable personality?
Not everybody thought that.
No?
But kids don't think that though, do they? They just want to pick on you because you're small. Right. They don't care if you're likeable or not. They just want to feel good themselves by throwing you about or picking on you or whatever.
Yeah.
You always learn to get in there first to make people laugh, don't you? I suppose it's that age-old thing, isn't it? You deal with it that way. Make people laugh and do stupid things. So that helped a lot. And then as I got older, I learned to start hanging around with big kids. So then the other ones didn't pick on you so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get a few allies on your side.
You had a little entourage of like bigger dudes.
Yeah, and that curbed it a lot.
Yeah.
If the kids in the year above you like you, well, then the kids in your year that are picking on you suddenly aren't that interested in picking on you anymore.
Probably give you a bit more respect as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, apart from that, I don't know, I was just a regular kid, I think, really. Played football. Which is odd because I never went on to ever play football. I don't like football. When I was a kid in the sort of 80s, you just went down the park and played football. It was there was no computers. I didn't have consoles or anything then. You go out and play football and climb trees and...
You must have had some computers at school. What did you have, the BBC Micros?
Oh, yeah, we had them, but at home we didn't. I didn't spend any time. I think Arthur's computer was a Commodore 64.
There you go. And a Spectrum with the rubber keys.
How old would I have been when we got that? I'll have been 10 or 11, I think, when we got that.
Yeah.
I got a Sega Master System. It must have been in like early 90s, maybe. Late 80s, early 92, 91, 92, something like that. So I didn't spend any time inside doing all that. It was always building robots out of cardboard boxes or playing football, that sort of thing,
Whereabouts did you grow up?
The northwest, Carnforth, Lancaster, Morecambe, that area, Yeah, it was good. I don't think I had any out of the ordinary sort of childhood, really. The same sort of things that most kids in the sort of 80s had, really.
So where did music come into the picture?
Music? Well, I got given... I don't know how old I'll have been. Again, probably 10, 11. I know my mum, when she was young, when she was sort of in her early 20s, she was a nurse. She lived in the nurse's home, which was like when she was training, like accommodation, like a dorm or something. And she had a record player, and she kept it, and then gave it me when I was about 10. It was absolutely ancient. Could sort of stack records up on it. When it had played one, it would drop it down, and then the thing would come over and play more of them. And she gave me that, and I got a few old records of a few people, Elvis and stuff like that. So that's kind of the first music I ever listened to was Elvis. And I loved Elvis when I was a kid because I kind of liked his films as well. I don't know what drew me to this guy. I don't know. I loved watching his films. He hated his films, I think, but I just thought he was the coolest guy I'd ever seen.
He had the presence.
Oh, he was just a mega, wasn't he? Just this handsome guy. These songs were great. It's just amazing. Cool guy, yeah. Just never stopped listening to him. Once I got into him, I just listened to him all the time. I ended up getting a few of his albums when I was young. And then my nan gave me a load of records. Oh, Barry's got a record player. I'll just give him some records. And at the time, I wasn't really into music, so I had no concept at sort of 9, 10 years old of what was cool or what I should be listening to, I just had a record player and records. I wasn't going to my mates going, look at this, I've just been given this Shadows album by my nan. It was just, you just stuck it on and listened to it. And I thought it was all ace because I just liked it. She gave me some Shadows albums and like a load of like 50s and 60s 7-inch singles and stuff. Oh, all sorts of stuff, really. That's
a great way to get some music history.
Yeah. Well, I was never, my musical taste was never influenced through primary school anyway. I always just listened to whatever, these records at home. I never really watched a lot of telly either. I wasn't, like I say, again with it, there was no internet, no gaming. There was no music in games like there is now, because now there's a lot of tunes in games. I just picked up, the only source of music I had was what records I was given or what my dad was playing in his car, and that was it, really. He used to listen to Dire Straits a lot in his car, and I've always liked them, and I still like them. And it was only when I got to secondary school and I met a few other people that you start getting into sort of other stuff that the people like. I remember I had a jacket. It's funny. I had a jacket and it had a rip. It had a rip in the sleeve there. My dad sewed because couldn't afford to buy me a new jacket. Sewed a patch on this rip in this jacket, and it was a rainbow patch, the band Rainbow. I didn't really know who they were, but I just thought it was quite cool. And it's funny. I had this coat on at school, and there was another lad. In my first sort of few days at high school, you'd sort of like sounding yourself out. And this other lad was a lot cooler than me. He was into heavy music and he knew everything. And he'd seen this patch and he'd go, "Oh, yeah, you like Rainbow, do you? You like and I'm going, yeah, they're great, aren't they?"
Just went along with it.
No idea what you're talking about. I did have a few tapes and I kind of knew a little bit and I kind of winged it a bit, really. And then I started going around his house and he had all these Iron Maiden albums and he was into Sepultura. They were the big thing he was into. And I'd never heard anything like that in my whole life.
That probably scared the shit out of you. From going from the Shadows to Sepultura.
Oh, I'd never heard anything like it. He said, "Listen to this," and I just like, "What is this?" Never heard it in my life. I thought all music was melodic. The Shadows, Elvis, Deep Purple, and that was about all I'd ever listened to. And then he's playing with this Sepultura, and I mean, this is a new world. So I got bang into that,
Isn't it crazy though? Like, just the fact that you had that patch sewn onto your jacket, which you had no idea what it was.
Yeah, I knew they were a band, and I knew I liked them because I thought they were cool because I thought my dad was cool, and I thought if my dad likes them, well, it's obviously cool, So yeah, it's strange, yeah, and that's just how you sparked off this bit of a friendship, really. Yeah.
So did you like the Sepultura stuff?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was a bit odd at first, and he recorded me. You'll like this. He had a video of him playing in Brazil. I got a video off my mum, a video cassette. He copied it from one video cassette to another. It was like it was slightly, the quality was getting slightly crapper. As I think he copied it off somebody else with 2 video players, and they did a copy for me. He put a few of the old, you'd have like the odd late night music thing going on like 2:00 in the morning. I can't remember what they were called, and he'd put a few like the really old weird heavy metal programs that were on.
It's probably like Raw Power and Noisy Mothers.
That's it, yeah, Raw Power. That's it. Yeah, he put some editions of that on. I'd never seen it. I went to bed at 8:00. I didn't stay up. It was obviously his house was a lot cooler than mine. He was allowed to stay up and watch these things. I wasn't. So I didn't know anything about any of this, and it was just like you could see your world is just opening up, can't you? Going, what is this imagery? It's these guys playing in the desert with these crucifixes, and there's blood and screaming, and I'm thinking, no, this isn't Hank Marvin, is it? What's this? This is crazy. And oddly enough, a couple of years ago, we played at Boomtown Festival, which is like a big crossover festival, like a drum and bass dance type festival. And Earache had a stage there, and Max Cavalera was there. And I told him that story when I was drunk, and he just went.
Just give you a look.
He didn't answer me really. I just said, "All right, yeah, I'll see you later."
Did getting into rock music then, did that kind of perhaps help at school, give you a bit of identity and get you a group of friends and things like that?
Absolutely. I don't really know. Everyone else, there was no other, as far as I'm aware at my school, there was no other musical groups. There was no other people that were together because they liked music, except if they liked heavy music, you know. Yeah. There was no, it was either they liked football, so they were all mates, or they liked, I don't know, some TV stuff or something. But if it was music, it was always heavy music. And yeah, we quickly sort of found out who liked that stuff and became like a bit of a, you know, you had your mates who were into that. Yeah. Never had that before. I'd had friends. I'd had to sort of just sort of get by and like what everyone else liked. If mates like playing football, so I went and played football because you wanted to have mates, you know, somebody to hang around with. You sort of kept your own limited music to yourself, you know, because I didn't want to talk to them about Elvis. I don't want to give them another excuse to kick my head in, you know. But yeah, when you find like-minded people, when you're about a passion, then it's quite liberating, isn't it? It opens your mind up and you think, wow, this is crazy.
Do you still have a classic album from perhaps that day which you still listen to today, which you think is faultless from top to bottom?
Well, another big introduction to heavy music for me. I don't know how old I was. I'll have been 12 or 13, and I got a Sony Walkman for Christmas. I got Painkiller by Judas Priest for Christmas on tape. My dad liked Judas Priest, but he never played it in the car when my mum was in the car because she hated it. So whenever she got out of the car or we would get on somewhere, just me and my dad, he would put this tape on.
Put Priest on, Dad.
Put the heavy music on, Dad. It's just a compilation tape of Judas Priest stuff. And I'd never heard anything like that before either. But I really like that because it was a bit more melodic than Sepultura, you know, and I kind of got on with it a bit more. And then one year they bought me a Painkiller for Christmas. And getting a Walkman, you're completely in charge of your own music for the first time, aren't you? You can put the headphones on. As daft as it sounds now, because there's 1,000,001 ways to lose yourself, but when you're a kid and the first time you can put your own ears in and nobody else can hear what you're listening to, and you can control the volume and what you listen to, it's quite a novelty, really. And I was just listening to that album non-stop.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely non-stop, yeah.
When was the last time you listened to it? Do you know like every note?
The full album? I don't know, to be honest. A long time. I do listen to certain songs from it every now and then. I do love Judas Priest. I listen to other stuff, to be honest, but I've not listened to that album all the way through, I don't know, for a long time. I probably should, to be honest.
Do you get a chance to speak to Andy Sneap about Judas Priest at all when you was recording?
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. What a guy he is, yeah. He was a great guy to get on with. He loved talking about it.
Yeah.
He said they were backstage at a gig. It was a Germany, I think. A guy came around to do an interview with Rob, and he said he knocked on the door, and Andy opened the door, and this guy said, "I'm here to speak to Rob. Is Rob around for the interview?" And he went, "Yeah, I'll go and get him for you." And he went, "Rob, come here." And he said, and Rob came walking, and I knew he was coming. And he just had a mankini on. He went, "All right, mate." And he went to shake his hand, and he grabbed him. He'd just come off stage, and he was all sweaty. He just picked this German fella up and was going like this with him. He's all sweaty, and he's a mankini, you know. He said, because that's what Rob's like. He just, you know.
Super.
Hilarious.
Where did you used to buy your music from back in the day? Did you have a local record store?
Yeah, I used to go. Well, there was a lot. Andy's Records was a big one, or Our Price. That was another one. There was a few smaller ones. Private. There was a place in Lancaster called Ear Records, which is quite a famous little record shop. You see it mentioned in quite a few books, and it's all gig tickets and vinyl and CDs. Ear Records. And there was another shop in the market in Lancaster called Hedgehog Records, which was all vinyl, kind of all second-hand vinyl and stuff. But yeah, it was always cool. You know, you go into town on the because I live just out of town really, so we'd get a few of us together, a few mates on a Saturday morning, 13, 14, get on the train and go into Lancaster and wander around Lancaster as a bit of a team, go in all the record shops and go to the old listening stations. Mm-hmm. What CDs have they got in? Put the headphones on and press the button and have a listen. And I didn't have a lot of money, but it was cool to go and have a look, you know.
Is there any albums which you took a gamble on just on the artwork?
Oh, blimey. I don't think I did. You know what? I don't think I ever did because I didn't have enough money to do that.
Fair enough.
In fact, you know what I did? I did. Yes, now you mention it, I did. This is going to sound great, like I've made it up. It used to be a car boot sale near us when I was a kid in my little village. And I bought Rainbow Rising on vinyl, based purely on... I knew who Rainbow were, but I'd never had any albums, but based on the artwork, because I was like, wow, that is amazing. Took a punt on it. Obviously, I'd never listened to it before, but that's an incredible album, isn't it? So, yeah, just that album, really.
I think for us, it was stuff like Iron Maiden. People got into Iron Maiden because of the artwork, so this is amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, to be honest, once my mum and dad found out I was into sort of rock and heavy metal music, that was my Christmases for about the next 10 years taken care of.
Yeah.
It was badges and T-shirts and lots of those like little metal badges with the pins on with the little brass tacks on the back.
The proper sculpted ones.
Yeah, the little sculpted ones, yeah. The Megadeth one and Iron Maiden one. Yeah, it was great. And T-shirts as well, like back in the sort of 90s, you go in Andy's Records are our price, and they'd have like the record sleeve boxes with loads of music T-shirts because there was no internet, so you couldn't just go and order whatever T-shirts you want off the internet. And there was no TK Maxx or anything that had music T-shirts in. The only place to get T-shirts was record shops, and they'd have sort of a few, and you'd scoot through them like records. And if I could afford one, I might buy one.
Do you remember HM Gear?
HM Gear.
You used to get like little pamphlets in Kerrang magazine, and they had all clothing and stuff like that.
That's another thing. I never really got music magazines either, to be honest. I never did. No, I never had any fucking money. I never got any money.
So where did performing come into the picture?
Well, I was quite late to it, really. My dad was always in bands right from when he was a teenager, rock bands. And he had a family, us, and then he sort of got back into it, and he was just playing he was playing in country bands, to be honest. And that's kind of the only memory I have of him being in bands. Yeah. I've been to watch him a few times. So he was out every Friday and Saturday night. He'd work all week, and then every Friday he'd go out and play gigs, and then come home, and then Saturday night he'd go out and play gigs just to make money, really. So my house was always full of sort of amps and stuff.
Was he a singer or a guitarist?
He was a drummer, and then he played bass guitar and sang.
Right.
Always tried for years to play the guitar. And when I was a kid, I had an acoustic guitar, but all I ever had were these ridiculously hard to follow books. There was nothing easy. There was no CDs. It was all so hard to read. Couldn't get it in my head. And I tried to learn to play the guitar, and I just couldn't pick it up at all. So I just gave up. And then when I came out of the Air Force, I just thought, I bought my own house. And I thought, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna learn it. But I thought maybe I'll try. I thought maybe I'll try to learn the bass. My dad plays bass, so I'll try and learn to play the bass. So he showed me a few things, and I always found the bass guitar easy to pick up, easy to get instant sort of results. Yep. But it took a long time to master it. Easy to pick up, hard to master. Mm-hmm. So immediately he showed me a few tricks, and I could immediately play 2 or 3 songs, and I thought, this is great. I was playing some Arctic Monkeys songs and stuff like that, Oasis, as everyone does. So I put an ad in the local co-op food shop. Just looking for anybody of a like mind and a low level. Any local people play the guitar.
Like mind and low level, brilliant. That's a band slogan to go by.
Yeah, is anybody like-minded and low level? Yeah. Is anybody looking for somebody to jam with that's not very good at guitar? Because I think half of the problem is you don't want to get involved. You don't want to go playing with people and find yourself making a fool of yourself. You know what I mean? Or out of your depth. I don't want to show up and then think I'm going to be amazing. I sort of said I am a total beginner. Is there any other total beginners out there that fancy learning with me? We'll learn some songs and we'll do some stuff. And I got loads of people got in contact with me. Oddly enough, a lad I used to go to school with got in contact with me, Tom, and he said, "Yeah, I've been playing a few songs. I play a few chords. We like the same music. Do you want to learn?" So I said, "Yeah." I said, "Give me 5 songs to learn. And you learn them, and then we'll meet up and we'll have a jam." We were just at that level all the time. So nobody was tutting and sighing, thinking, this guy's rubbish. It was just great. And then we got a drummer on board, and we started a covers band. Oddly enough, the other guitar player in the band was Bowser, who's now the bass player, obviously, in Wagons. He was the other guitar player in the band. We played, and Bowser left, and we got another guitar player in, and he left. And then Adam Thistlethwaite joined the band. He left university, came home, and then he joined the covers band, Aceface. We were playing Arctic Monkeys, Fratellis, Oasis. And when Adam joined, we started playing a little bit of Bad Company and Foo Fighters and kind of heavier kind of stuff. And I was like, this is much better. And then the cover band sort of fell away because the singer was a transport policeman, and his job was getting a bit. He got promoted, and it was getting a bit much, so he couldn't commit. So that went. And then me and Adam just stuck together, and we were like, fancied writing some music, So we just started writing some songs together. And he was jamming with some other lads, Carl, the original drummer and the original bass player, and that's where Wagons came from, really. And I said, "Oh yeah, I'll have a go at singing."
I mean, you've got a frigging powerful voice, dude. I mean, just like, I'll have a go at singing, and all of a sudden this voice came out, or what? What happened?
It's funny because, again, when I was a kid, another early introduction to heavy music for me was a friend of my dad's for Christmas one year. The guy in your family who's your uncle, but he's not your uncle. Yeah. Uncle John or Uncle Dave. We've all got one, haven't we? This was Uncle Tony. A great bloke. Loved he had a big music collection. Loved his music. He loved AC/DC. And for Christmas one year, he recorded some albums on tape. So he'd recorded them and written all the things out, and he gave me about 6 albums, and there was like 3 or 4 AC/DC albums, some Def Leppard albums, The Cult, big albums of the day, you know, and I'd never had these albums, so I listened to those, and I remember listening to these AC/DC albums and singing to them and thinking, I can sing this stuff. I felt like I could sing it.
It felt comfortable.
I felt like I could sing it. I felt I like this. I can belt this out. But I never had the confidence ever. And that I will have been about 16, I think, at the time. I never had the confidence to do anything with it. Because all you get off people is, you can't really sing. You think you can sing, or, yeah, you can sing in the shower, but nah, it's harder than you think. You know, you can't. There was no real encouragement to do it, so I just never did anything with it. And it's a regret of mine, really. When I joined Massive Wagons, I was 28, I think, which I really wish I could have started doing it 10 years earlier. You know, I might not be so old now. We might have got a bit further. I don't know, but then if I'd have started doing it earlier, I might not have been in this band, so who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows? But when I got to 28, I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Yeah, I'll have a go at singing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see if I can do it. And I'm amongst friends. And if I can't do it, I can't do it. I'll put it to bed.
Did that confidence come quickly then once you started hearing your voice through a PA and all that kind of thing? Like, holy shit, this does sound good.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of the confidence to do it came from being in the RAF.
Right.
I left home when I was 18, joined the Air Force, did 5 years. I became a completely different person.
Yeah.
So when I came home, I wasn't that little guy anymore. I was just like, I'd been a few places in the world, met friends from around the country, I'd been to all over the place, you know, been in some scrapes, this world of sort of experience in 5 years. And I came back and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, no worries. If it's shit, I don't really care.
So basically, if you had been in a band earlier and not gone in the RAF, you perhaps wouldn't have had that confidence. So that 5 years or so allowed it.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. It's just funny how it works out. And we've always tried to surround the band with people that are honest, you know. Really, the real close people to the band, like Rookie and a few other people. Rookie was our tour manager. He wasn't at the time. If I want serious advice, I would say to him, what do you think of this? And he will say, it's shit, or you sound rubbish, or it's brilliant. And if he says it's brilliant, I believe him.
Exactly. Has he told you it's shit enough times to know that he's not going to be kissing your arse?
I just know him. I know him too well. If he thinks it's crap, he will tell you it's crap, which is exactly what I want. I don't need smoke blowing up my ass. I don't want to stand on stage doing something people tell you is good that people think is rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need that in my life.
That's a good circle of people to have around you, really, because you can have all those
Definitely,
yes men around you. But
no, you don't need that, no.
Was there any local bands which you kind of inspired you from your area, or you started to gig with regularly?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's odd because when we started doing Massive Wagons, it was a cover band, solely a cover band for a good 4 years maybe. Sort of going to a pub on a Friday or Saturday night with your own PA. You'd have 2 1-hour sets and like a 15-minute encore. You know, it was like serious length of time. You know, all AC/DC, Judas Priest, all that. So all the bands at the time we really admired were kind of cover bands. There's a local band called Tim Panelli who were good friends of ours, and they'd been playing for years, and we used to go and watch them. It was just amazing. And we used to go to the place called the Pub in Lancaster, which was the Rock Bar, which was just cover bands. That's all we used to watch really, was cover bands. We didn't know anything about the original circuit.
Right.
We didn't really watch any original bands unless they were big, you know, unless you could buy a ticket and go and watch them. I wasn't really aware of any young sort of small time original bands anywhere, even in Lancaster really. Although it had been going on for a long time, I was a part of that scene. When we started writing our own music, a guy from Preston got in contact with us, a guy called Shad Patterson. Yeah, that was our introduction. He said, I'm putting a CD together. You know, would you like to put one of your songs on it? We were like, wow, yeah, of course we would. Yeah, this is amazing, great. We thought this was massive, you know, this was great. He was a great guy. We gave him a song, and then he put together this like tour out of his own pocket. He like 6 or 7 venues across the Northwest, and he had like 10 bands on board, and he sorted out different lineups for every night over a couple of weeks. And he gave us like 3 nights over 2 weeks to play on these different lineups with different bands. And that was our first ever original gigs, if you like. Again, it was like, wow, I did not know any of these bands existed. I didn't know about this. I didn't know bands played 20-minute sets. I thought we were going to play 2 hours. 2.5 hours. You know, I didn't know we were going to play 20 minutes to nobody.
You've been pacing yourself for these hour-long sets. Like, you've got 20 minutes. You could probably hit that stage like a frigging explosion and like just go for it 110%.
This is it. When we started to get into the original scene, there was a lot of original bands which kind of looked down on the old cover scene and the cover bands. Oh, we don't play covers. Or you play covers. What do you play them for? Well, as far as we were concerned, by the time we were playing original music, we could if we needed, play for 2.5 hours. I could work a room full of 200 people in it. You know, it's no problem. You know, we're not finding our feet here. Which when we were going on first, like you said, you're going out there like a steam train, and everyone's like, fucking hell, these lads are on first. It's like, well, yeah, we've been doing it for 5 years, playing every weekend. There's nothing wrong with playing covers. If you've got the time and the patience to learn the cover songs, and you've got the PA and you've got the van to get around, then best thing we ever did. You know, we were getting paid every gig, buying gear, bought a van.
Getting yourself set up, really. It's putting in the legwork.
Exactly. We didn't need to climb. Then when we hit the original band circuit, we climbed up really fast. People were like, who's this band, Massive Wagons? Where have they come from? Why have I never heard of them?
Yeah.
You know, how do they know how to do all this stuff? We've not done it before. No, it's just we've just been on the set. We've just been in a different circuit for that long.
Yeah.
We slowly started adding in our own music to the cover sets. Well, you see, because we had a fan base of loving our covers, they immediately started, I like these guys. They liked our original stuff. So then when we started turning up to play original sets, we were bringing crowds as well. You know, we played a lot of the biker dudes, and they were turning up for these 20-minute original sets. So we were bringing loads of people as well. And they were going, this is incredible. Who are these guys? You know, because they've got this following, because they were good. People come to watch you. I do realise, though, it is a lot of work. And if you don't want to play covers, we only played covers because we didn't know what else to do. So we just learned a full cover set because we weren't writing music and we didn't know what else to do. But I suppose if you're knocking around with original bands from the start, you don't want to play covers, which I understand that. But I'm glad we did do it that way because it stands you in so much good stead. You know, we've still got fans now that come to gigs and shows and stuff from 10 years ago that were watching us play all the covers, you know.
Very cool.
Great.
So if a young Massive Wagons fan came up to you today and said you were their favourite band, but they wanted to know what other bands to listen to and find out your influences, what bands and albums would you say? Right, you got to go check this one out.
I think one of the great things about our band is we all have a real open mind. We all like so much stuff. Yeah, we all like. I think the love of heavy music kind of brought us together initially. Alex we all love country music, to be honest, which we kind of found out over years, really. Oddly, my dad played in the country bands, but he played in country bands with a lot of Adam and Alex's relatives. So they're brothers. He played in bands with their great uncle. Their other uncle played in the local scene. So, you know, we all had a love of country music from that, really. I mean, but again, like growing up in the 90s, probably like you, I don't know if you liked indie music, but that was a massive, massive, massive part of when I went to school, later on in school, my mid-year, second, third year, like the Oasis and Blur thing was just like, I was starting to watch, might sound stupid, I was starting to watch proper TV when I was that old. I was taking notice like music programs. I wasn't watching cartoons and all the time. It was starting, you're like, wow, Oasis were just massive to me when I was a kid. I wanted that haircut and that stupid coat and them trainers. You know, I was one of them kids. I wanted the hair. My mum wouldn't let me grow my hair. I had short hair. I wanted that big Oasis haircut and the coat up to here and the Adidas Samba trainers. I was one of them. I wanted that. Because it was an identity and all the cool kids liked it and the music, I just loved the music.
It was a proper movement, wasn't it?
It was.
You're never going to get a movement like that again. I mean, just before that you had the grunge movement, then you had the Britpop movement and all that kind of thing. I don't know if you'll ever see anything again. I
kind of missed that grunge thing. I revisited it later when I met Terry, to be honest. She likes Pearl Jam and got me into Pearl Jam. And I can't believe how close those bands, those scenes were together. And I completely never listened to, I just dismissed everything apart from Oasis. That was it. I didn't listen to Pearl Jam or Nirvana really, or any of those bands. I mean, I talk to people like of a similar age, like you, and they say, "Oh, did you listen to that?" They talk about all the grunge bands, and I just have no idea what they're talking about. Alice in Chains, and it's such a great frontman, and you know this Alice in Chains song. I'm like, not really
missed that one. It is weird. I'm the same. I sometimes like miss the boat on stuff, but then sometimes it's good to like go back and like, oh, it's a whole new thing to dive into. It's great.
The Oasis thing just for me spawned so many great bands. You know, a lot of them might have been rip-off bands, but it was just a great few years. I find it hilarious, really, that a lot of the rock sort of fraternity and the rock crowd totally dismiss Oasis, and they won't have anything to do with Oasis, and they don't like them. They seem to not like them because of Oasis's fans, which is a ridiculous reason to not like a band, if you ask me. It's like, well, do you like their music? I like the music. I might not like the fans, but I like the music because I like the music, you know. And he writes a song, and I bet he's responsible for more people picking up the guitar.
Oh, God.
You know, the last 20, 30 years than most of the rock guitar players.
Yeah.
You know, right at the beginning, it's Wonderwall, isn't it? That's why that's what you play. It used to be the Beatles, then it was Oasis.
Yeah.
I don't care. All these metal guitar players, whether they care to admit it or not, they've all learned Wonderwall or one of them songs
at some point,
haven't they?
Yeah, for sure. You ought to blow people's minds and come out at a Wagons gig with the Oasis jacket on.
With a big jacket on. And the circle glasses. Yeah, I forget egged off stage. But I do. But they're a big influence. I love them. I love them. I think they're great.
But you could, like you say, you couldn't escape it at that time. It was just everywhere. It was just such a big thing.
And then Oasis led me on to maybe the heavier side of the British thing, like Terrorvision and the Wild Arts.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, which isn't the same music, but it's linked. It's all the guitar music. It was all part of the same sort of. It was a bit heavier, but it was all part of the same kind of scene, wasn't it?
Once you're into music and then you're happy to absorb all kinds of different stuff, just one thing just leads to another, and eventually it'll lead you to that one thing which you really want to dive into.
Exactly. I mean, Terrorvision for me are just fucking. I love them. In the race, great band. Yeah, they're a brilliant band. Yeah.
One last question, then I'll let you go. If you could give your younger self any bit of advice, what would it be?
Go down the gym a bit more.
Right.
I don't know, really.
Well, you're a dad now. How are you taking your experiences?
Don't let your mum decide what haircut you've got.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that was one. I always wanted the cool haircut. I always thought the haircut was the key to popularity.
Right.
When I was a little kid, spiky hair was the thing. When I was sort of 7, 8 years old, all the kids were starting to get hair gel on their hair, spike their hair up. A flat top with spiked up. I think some of the footballers had like spiky hair. And all the cool kids at school had spiky hair. And I was like, Mum, I want spiky hair. She's like, you're not spiking your hair up. And I didn't have hair that would do that. So it was ridiculous. I hated my hair. I hated it. And ironically, when I was at primary school, I kind of had that Oasis haircut. But because I had that, I got picked on. You know, I had that hair down here. I got bullied because of that haircut.
You're a trendsetter, mate. You were like forward.
Ironically, when I was at secondary school, that was the haircut everybody else had. And yeah. I know, yeah. Advice, I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't know. Skills, it would have been something to do with dealing with skill for me. But skills are so different now. Things are so different, aren't they? I mean, I don't know what advice I'd give Lila.
Well, like I say, it's changed a lot since when you were a kid.
Yeah. Hopefully she won't get picked on.
Problems you had to deal with and we all had to deal with. It's perhaps not even on the radar of kids these days.
No. Don't keep things to yourself. That's a big piece of advice, I think, for kids. Don't bottle things up. And if you've got a problem, yeah, don't ever bottle things up.
That's good advice for everybody, man, not just for kids.
It is, but I think if you bottle it up as a kid, it might lead to problems later on. If you get used to that as a young kid, if people won't help you out or don't, if you don't go to the people for help, then you're never going to go to people for help the rest of your life, maybe. I don't know. And I think it starts at school if you're being picked on or bullied or whatever.
You enjoying being a dad? I know it's a single-sided question. You must be loving it, man.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible. I absolutely love it. Yeah. It's, the day your child is born, your life is never the same. Yeah. Absolutely. Everything is absolutely totally different to the day before. Completely. That's it. You can say goodbye to that life completely. You have to make, and it's a new set of rules and a new program, and that is it. Somebody else is now the center of the universe. You're not the center of your own universe. That other person is the focus.
How's that being
Nothing
a singer?
Else really matters.
Because singers are all about themselves.
No, I don't have an ego. We don't have egos in this band. There are no egos in this band.
How does she like her dad singing in a band?
She loves it. She loves me. You know what? A strange thing is we seem to be, I don't know if any other bands have this, but I love the fact that our band, we seem to somehow connected with kids. My daughter's no different, and the rest of the guys in the bands, they're children. We have certain songs, and it wasn't intentional.
Right.
And I don't know why. We have kids turning up to gigs. We played one of the last gigs before lockdown was a gig in Kendal. And I had 4 or 5 people who brought their kids to the gig, and they were stood on the stage at the front of the show. These were kids that were like between 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, and I don't know where that comes from. And they're just like this. 3, 5, 4 Fun, Billy Balloonhead, all these songs, they're just screaming it out. And I've always, all right, I've got a bit of a bad mouth for him on stage. I try to rein it in, and I feel terrible when I'm swearing. But these people bring their kids, and they love it. We sell kids' T-shirts. I don't know if any other bands do that, but it's amazing. I just think it's something that's I find really cool, to be honest.
You've cracked the code, mate. I think you've cracked it with that. That's going to be the secret.
I think it's just my childish lyrics. I think people, 3, 5, 4 Fun and that sort of thing. I don't know. Yeah, we've got a song called The Curry Song, which is coming out next week. And Alex said his little boy Owen won't stop singing it, and he's 3. He won't stop singing it.
This is going to be your Terrorvision tequila thing. You're going to have the curry song, something like that.
Well, you know what, mate? At the risk of sounding like a rip-off merchant, that's exactly what I had in mind when I wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I thought, well, to be honest, I listened to them a lot. Stephen sent me this riff, and I loved it, and I wrote 3 or 4 sets of lyrics for it, and I didn't like any of them. And I was like, what can I do? And I've been listening to Terrorvision, and I thought, that tequila song, man, that's just that's their biggest song. I wonder if I could write a song about something people love doing, but it's never been a song written about. I thought, just like, everyone goes for a curry. You go for a curry with your mates, with whoever, don't you? So I thought, I wonder if I could write a song about going for a curry, as they wrote a song about drinking tequila. And I thought, when I took it to practice, I thought, they're going to throw me out of the band here, or they're going to think it's great. And it's turned out great.
Mint, dude. Cool, man. Thank you for doing that. It's really good to speak
Yeah, no
to
worries,
you.
mate. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. But I shall hopefully see you in the flesh real soon.
Hopefully, Rob.
All right, mate.
I appreciate it, mate. It's been good crack.
All right, you take care, Baz, and I'll speak to you later.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, dude.
See you later, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, mate. Bye.
We're banging in your stereo, getting down on the radio. We're banging in your stereo, fast and loud on the radio. We're banging in your stereo, getting down on the radio. We're banging in your stereo, fast and loud on the radio.
Baz, what a legend. Like I said earlier, really chuffed to see him and the rest of the guys doing so well in these weird times, but they're just going above and beyond with everything. Thanks as always for listening to the Straight to Video podcast. I know, here comes the pitch, but please like, share, and if possible, review, either good or bad. I think at this point we're pretty close to around 1,000 downloads, which for me that's nuts considering how new this all is. Lots more to come. I haven't burned out yet, so till next time, see you real soon and take care.